Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salamun ala ibadi alladhina istafa. Amma ba'd. قال تعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإلى مدين أخاهم شعيبا قال يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره ولا تنقصوا المكيال والميزان إني أراكم بخير وإني أخاف عليكم عذاب يوم محيط. صدق الله العظيم. Dear respected brothers, elders, sisters, and anybody that's listening, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, by the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are halfway through Ramadan. And like I said at the beginning, Ramadan will come and Ramadan will go. It's how much we value this month of Ramadan, this month of blessing, this month of mercy and forgiveness. We've got to appreciate what Allah has given to us. This is a month of sales. This is a month where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala multiplies rewards. For one good action, you get the reward multiplied by 70. It's unimaginable the rewards that there are in the month of Ramadan. So we should try and spend as much time as we can in the ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Ramadan goes, then shaitan are unlocked, and what becomes our state? That's why we've got to make sure we make the most of Ramadan. Ramadan is a month just like our car when it needs an MOT. Once a year we take it for an MOT, and then once it's got MOT'd, we know for the year it should be fine. This is our month of MOT, and hopefully once we are MOT'd, then we should be running fine for the full year. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the ability, the tawfiq to value what's left of Ramadan. May Allah forgive us for wasting our time in neglect. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give the ability to do more good actions. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Today we're going to talk about Prophet Shuaib alayhi salam. Prophet Shuaib alayhi salam is mentioned in the Holy Quran 11 times by name. Prophet Shuaib alayhi salam was also one of the Arab prophets. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam mentioned to Abu Dharr radiyallahu anh that 4 prophets were from the Arab: Hazrat Salih alayhi salam, Hazrat Hud alayhi salam, Hazrat Shuaib alayhi salam, and myself, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So 4 prophets from the Arabs. In some narrations it says that Prophet Shuaib alayhi salam's mother was the daughter of Prophet Lut alayhi salam. Allah knows best. And in some narrations it says that Prophet Musa alayhi salam got married to the daughter of Prophet Shuaib alayhi salam. Again, Allah knows best. Prophet Shuaib alayhi salam was a very pious prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was a very educated prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He had the power of speech. He was known as Khatib al-Anbiya, the orator of the prophets, the one with the most eloquent in his speech. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him these blessings that when he would give dawah to the people, he would speak to them in such a nice way, in such a nice manner, that he would call them to the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Prophet Shuaib alayhi salam was sent to his own people, the people of Madian. Madian is a location today on the border of Jordan and Palestine. There's a whole valley which is known as the Valley of Shuaib alayhi salam. If you go there, you can also see the tomb of Prophet Shuaib alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Shuaib alayhi salam to his own people. The people, they started doing shirk with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They started associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They were also known as the people of Ashab al-Aika, the people of the wood, because they would go into the woods and they would worship trees. So instead of worshipping the creator of the trees, they would worship the trees. And like that, they were engaged in other bad actions. They would steal, they were bandits, robbers. Whoever would go past their valley, their towns, they would loot them, they would steal from them, they would take wealth from them. And they would force people to pay taxes. They would take bribes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed the people of Madian with so much wealth. But even then, they would be unjust to others. When it came to buying and selling, trading, they were cheap people. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes mention of this. And do not curtail the measure and the weight. In another ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that Prophet Shuaib alayhi salam would warn people, O my people, perfect the measure and the balance with justice, and do not make the people short of their things, and do not go about the earth spreading disorder. So when they would trade with people, what they would do, if for example, if somebody wanted £10 worth of goods, they would give £8 worth of goods, but they would take the money for the amount of £10. So they would cheat them in the weighing of the scales. Or sometime when people would want milk, they would add water into the milk. And they would say that this is full milk. Here, take this milk. But really they have added water in the milk. So it was not original milk. So these are the way that they caused deception to the people. They cheated the people. They would take interest. So they were always worried and concerned about making more and more money. Whether it was through unlawful means, they didn't care. However they can take more wealth, however they can get more money, that's all their concern was. If it meant cheating people, if it meant bribing people, if it meant stealing from people, they did whatever they can to gain more wealth. So Prophet Shuaib alayhi salam would warn them that, O my people, worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. La ilaha illallah. There is no one worthy of worship but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And stop this cheating and stop this what you're doing. Don't cheat the people. Don't deceive the people. Give them their weight in full. Whatever they purchase from you, you should give them in full. But the people would ignore Shuaib alayhi salam. And they would taunt him. And they would say bad things. They would say, you're a magician, you're a liar. We don't want to listen to you. Go away, we don't want to know you. You know, when people fall so much for the love of this dunya, then everything else becomes blind to them. All they see is money. All they see is business. All they see is how can I take more out of the people's pocket. They won't see no halal, no haram. They will just think, how can I take more from the people? Just like today, we see in our society, in the businesses as well, from big companies to small little businesses, how people use tactics to deceive people. They will offer 2 for 3 and they will offer all these offers, but they will deceive the people because they will have a small print. And they will say to you, well, you should have read the small print. So this deception of those people exists today. People are stealing, people are robbing, people are looting, people are taking interest. People are, whichever way possible, they want to have more. They're not content with what Allah's given them. They're not happy with whatever Allah's given them. And remember, whatever is destined for you, you will get. But what happens is when we become so engaged in this dunya and all we can see is pound notes and we can see money, then unfortunately we're ready to sell our deen. We're ready to sell our iman. We're ready to bargain our iman because of money and wealth. Just like the people of Madian, they became so blind. They didn't want to listen to the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They will say to him that you're just jealous of us because we've got a lot of money and you don't have enough money. You're just preaching so you get more followers and you can make more money and you can overtake us. That's what you're doing. Na'udhu billah, astaghfirullah. These were the comments and the sly comments they were saying to the Prophet of Allah, Shuaib alayhi salam. Today, just think, how much are we going to earn? I remember reading a story about Alexander the Great. He ruled over the world. But before he was passing away, he said to his guardsmen that when you're going to take me to my grave, I want you to throw out all the wealth onto the streets so people can see that no wealth goes with me to the grave. And then when you lay me down to bury and you bury me into the grave, put both my hands outside the grave so people can see that I'm in the grave bare-handed. I've got nothing in the grave. No, none of my wealth has gone with me. Everything I've left outside. Everything I've left back in the dunya. This is Alexander the Great giving this advice, his final piece of advice to his guardsmen. That's the reality. However much you earn, whatever you earn, if it's not halal, if it's not through the rightful means, the rightful sources, then none of that wealth will benefit you in this world or the next world. But instead, both in this world and in the next world, it'll become a source of punishment for you, an adhab. We see today, many people earn through haram means. They earn through drugs money. They earn £1,000 a day. But the quicker it comes, the quicker it goes. They know barakat. They know blessings in such wealth. On the other hand, we see in our community pious people that live up very little, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless their life with happiness and contentment. We see today that many billionaires, they might have all the money and the wealth and the happiness, but they're worried that somebody might take their money. They're worried about their life. They can't go to sleep until they take sleeping tablets. On the other hand, you've got Hazrat Umar radiyallahu an, who again, he is Amir al-Mu'mineen. He's the leader of the Muslims. And so much land has been conquered under his leadership. But a visitor comes to visit Hazrat Umar radiyallahu an, and they said, you will go and find him in the gardens. And Hazrat Umar radiyallahu an was lying on the floor with just a rock as his pillow and fast asleep. And this visitor was surprised that you are Amir al-Mu'mineen, you are the leader of the Muslims, you rule almost half of this world, and this is your state, that you're sleeping without any bodyguards, without any guards, without any pillow, without any bedding, and your clothes have patches on it. But Umar would reply, our success is not in these materialistic things. It's not in this money and this wealth. Our success lies in worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah gave us izzat, honor and respect through our deen, our Islam, not through some wealth and not through some name and fame and dunya. And this is the message of Islam, that we're only in this temporary world for a short amount of time. Why should we jeopardize everything just because we want to earn haram? Just because we want to have a bit of fun? Think about your akhirat. Think about the day you're going to stand in front of Allah. Allah will ask you, how did you gain your wealth? Allah will say to you, He gave you the ability, He gave you the strength. You had the luxury of living in England that you could go out and work. What did you do? What answer will you give to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What would you say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allah, I was blessed, I was fortunate one. I was on the streets of Bradford. I was looting people. I was selling drugs. I was corrupting the people. What are you going to say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? These are things that we should ponder and think about. So the people of Madian, they said to Shuaib alayhi salam, it looks like you're jealous of us because we got more money than you. And I think you're just preaching so that you can get more followers and then you can become more rich. Prophet Shuaib alayhi salam would say to them, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fear the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I am not in need of your wealth. I'm not in need. I'm content and happy with whatever Allah has given me. He would warn them, you know what happened to people before you. The people of Nuh alayhi salam, they were drowned. The people of Hud alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala finished them off. They were giants. The people of Ad, they were finished off as well. And then, you know, just recently, the people of Lut alayhi salam, just people from this region, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished them because of their crimes and their sins. So you know everything. You know history in front of you. So why do you deny Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Why do you not worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Why are you still sinning? Why are you still cheating the people? Why don't you be fair? But their hostility grew against Prophet Shuaib alayhi salam. And they will say to Prophet Shuaib alayhi salam, Ya Shuaibu, ma nafqahu kathira mimma taqul, wa inna lanaraka fina da'ifa, walau larahtuka larajamnaka, wa ma anta alayna bi'aziz. O Shuaib, we do not understand much of what you say. And in fact, we see you as weak from amongst us. They will say to Prophet Shuaib alayhi salam, we don't understand what you're saying. We don't want to know what you're saying. In reality, we find you weak and poor. And your followers are weak and poor. Only the poor are following you. We're rich. We've got money. We've got wealth. We've got name. We've got fame. And that's what you want. But you don't have that. Look how they mocked the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Na'udhu billah. May Allah ta'ala save us from such sins. And they will say to Shuaib alayhi salam, if it wasn't for your clan and your family, we would have stoned you, we would have killed you. But because of that respect and honor for your family, we saved you, we spared you. So Prophet Shuaib alayhi salam would say to them, you fear my family more than you fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You respect my family more than you respect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But they just wouldn't listen. So when the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did arrive, for days they were suffering, they were suffocating, there was no air to breathe. And then all of a sudden, they saw a grey cloud and they became really happy, thinking that it's going to rain, the air will clear up, we should be able to breathe. But instead, this was a punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caused a great cry, a sound which caused an earthquake and destroyed and killed every single one of them except for Shuaib alayhi salam and the believers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كَأَلَّمْ يَغْنَوْ فِيهَا. It's as if they weren't even living there. Everything was destroyed. All their wealth, everything was left behind. There were no signs of them. Everything finished. Just like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished the people in front of them, before them, the people of Ad, the people of Thamud, that were arrogant and proud of their power, their status, their strength, their wealth, their ability, their knowledge. But they didn't declare the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And similar to the people of Shuaib alayhi salam, the people of Madian, they didn't declare La ilaha illallah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished them. They became arrogant and they became proud, and they thought money and wealth was everything. This is a great lesson to us all. Everybody chases the money, everybody chases the dunya, but reality is dunya is very deceiving. It doesn't stop for anybody. Nobody in this world has got full up with dunya, and never will he get full up with dunya. Allah will make you a billionaire today and you still won't be happy because you want more. And Allah will give you more and you still won't be happy because you want more. Because dunya is a deception. It's not a place of contentment. That's a contentment in dunya is a big ni'mat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah ta'ala has made you content, that you are happy with your own halal earnings, and Allah has blessed you, and Allah has blessed your family with it, this is a great blessing in this day and age. That's why it's better to earn little and to live within your means than rather to earn a lot and then you're struggling to live. We see many examples today. We see many examples on our streets. Live within your means, what you can afford. Remember, yes, wealth is part of dunya. We all need to earn. But our Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us that the best earning is through your own hands. Go and earn your halal rizq. But same time, appreciate Allah's blessings. Turn to Allah for whatever pound and penny He gives you. Turn to Allah and thank Him for what He has given you. Because the greatest and the biggest richness is the richness of Iman, of Islam, of having faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and all the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the greatest richness. If a person has Iman, nothing is more valuable than that. You know, and you've heard it many a time, if you play this kalima on one side of the scale and you place the dunya and whatever it contains on the other side of the scale, this kalima La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah will outweigh the dunya and whatever it contains. That's how valuable this kalima is. And just imagine a person that declares this kalima, says La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, and he has faith in this kalima. How valuable is he in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Just think, all you Muslims, all you believers, how valuable you are in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You just need to recognize that. Allah has given you the greatest gift, the gift of Iman, and He gave it to you for free. You didn't even purchase it. Forget purchasing it. You didn't need to strive for it. You didn't need to work hard for it. In everything in dunya, if you want to gain something, if I want to buy a new car, I have to work for it. I need to earn some money, then I can purchase it. But Iman, the most priceless thing, Allah has given it to us for free. Ask those people, those reverts, those people that sacrifice their lives, their families, their belonging, everything, just to taste the sweetness of Iman. When you hear the stories of reverts, what sacrifices they made to become Muslim, they value this Iman. Because we've been given it, we don't have the value of it. We don't do qadr of it. May Allah forgive us for this. Value how rich you are. All the believers are rich. They are rich in Iman and Islam. And that's the true richness of dunya and akhirat. And this richness will be heavy on the scales on the day of judgment. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us successful Muslims in the dunya and in the akhirat. Wa akhir dawana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.